bloody brilliant. I have a very strong passion for the relationship between mental health and the arts, and I've never actually really thought about that comparison with the Joker as a character before. But when I saw the trailer for the new Joker film with Joaquin Phoenix, I thought, this seems like this is really going to focus on the relationship between those two things. I was very nervous for the film, partly because I thought the trailer looked phenomenal, and while I'd heard a lot of positivity about it, there were also quite a few negative reviews, and I think I heard one review that said it was meh, it was alright. It was kind of Marmite for the most part, and honestly, I needn't have worried. I love Tim Burton with all my heart. I finished watching this and thought, that is a better Joker than Jack Nicholson's. Now, in a way, I feel like it's kind of unfair to compare this Joker to other Joker interpretations because it's a completely different story. This is his story. This is the Joker. It's all about Arthur Fleck and how he came to be known as the Joker. And I have to say, there will be no spoilers in this video. I do have to warn you that there may be some sensitive topics discussed here. I'm not sure how deep I'm going to go into this. I'll just start talking and see what happens. And that's the same with the film. If you haven't seen it, I definitely 100% recommend it, but it may be quite a triggering watch. So just a little bit about where my views are coming from. Twofold. I'm a die-hard Batman addict. I love Batman. I won't say it has nothing to do with Batman, but this is the time for the Joker to have his moment. And also, I have various mental health problems. I have depression. I've had a lot of therapy for different things. And therefore, I'm very passionate about anything that looks at mental health and how it does it. And I have to say that this does it tremendously well. It's very raw. It doesn't sugarcoat anything. And my favourite thing about this is where it points the blame. And I think it does that very effectively. So a tiny bit of background if you haven't seen the film. Arthur Fleck, the Joker, is dressed as a clown and he is beaten up at the start of the film. And he's got a pretty rough life. In addition to his mental health problems, he is seen as an outcast, he is seen as an outsider. People do make fun of him, and that's hurtful, and that's going to do you some serious damage in the long run. And things spiral out of control, and he loses control, and he starts to do some pretty awful things. What I learned very quickly about this, and I wasn't expecting, is that this makes me feel very sorry for Arthur Fleck. I want to reach out and hug him and say it's going to be okay, even though we all know that's unlikely. And I never expected that, and I've never felt that way towards the Joker before. So this has given me this completely new approach and attitude to this character that I think will stay with me when I watch or rewatch other Batman films. It's certainly giving him a great, solid backstory, which is a foundation to a lot of other kind of avenues they can take with this character. And I felt sorry for him, and I feel like the character worked really well. He was very likeable. When he was being sinister, a little bit eerie and a little bit, well, you wouldn't want to meet him in a dark alley. Even then, I liked him. So one of the main reasons why this film has caused a stir, I'd say there are two reasons, and the first one is that it's just very creepy and very eerie. Now when I first watched it, and I finished watching it, and I thought, that wasn't actually that bad. There were a couple of moments that were kind of completely out of the blue and shocking, but for the most part I didn't think it was that intense. But having thought about it on reflection, yeah, it was really strong. So I think it depends on what mood you're in when you watch it. If you go and see it and you're already feeling quite sensitive and you're maybe open to being triggered, and then it may have a really negative, not negative, may have a really important impact. It may make you feel a certain way. But if you watch it like I must have been when I watched it the first time and I was just curious, then I think it's alright. So I think the kind of the impact it can have will depend on what mood you personally are in. The one thing that makes me happiest in life ever is stand-up comedy. I love stand-up comedy, and Arthur is a big fan of stand-up comedy and he's trying to become a comedian. and there are a lot of kind of nods to comedy and classic comedy and comedians, and it's weird because you're watching these funny things and these funny people and you're wanting to laugh, but you can also see the pain etched on his face. And it's so jarring, that dichotomy of utter laughter and kind of chaotic pain. And it works on screen, it works so well with causing confusion. And most of the feelings do come from just utter mind confusion. And I love it. I do have to say, one of my favourite scenes, and I hated it, but that's why I love it, is the train scene. I won't spoil it, I won't say any more, but the train scene was so intense. And it kind of reminded me of the train scene from Ghost, which scarred me mentally as a child. And this is such a powerful scene, and it's a big turning point for Arthur as well. And I still think about that scene and how important it was and how very well done it was. I felt the film had a really beautiful dusty colour palette which really reflected Arthur's mind. I thought that worked really well. The makeup was incredible, but what I loved most is watching him apply the makeup. There was a moment where he brushed his tongue with the white face paint, or whatever he was using for the white face, and it was just an odd thing to do, and it's just that lots of little details like that really give you an insight into his mind. I thought, yeah, that's bloody brilliant. I think most of the soundtrack was good. I enjoyed it, but I can't remember too much of it. But they did have a moment where Send in the Clowns was playing, which is a song that I absolutely adore, and obviously the clown aspect is very appropriate, but it's also such a beautiful, gentle, soulful, emotional, relaxing-ish song. And you've got, basically internally he is screaming, and then you have this song, and it's a very strong contrast, and it works very well. Definitely predicting a sequel from this. I'm definitely predicting all of the awards at the Oscars. Certainly Phoenix will get Best Actor. I can't think of any other performance this year or potentially upcoming that would deserve that more than he does for this. It might get Best Makeup, I don't know, it's kind of limited, but it's going to do fantastically well. If you're on the edge about seeing it, please go and see it. I knew I would like The Joker. It is potentially my favourite film of 2019. The Joker is amazing.